to Mart's garage. I haven't done much work in the garage lately. I've been having a little bit of a break. But as you can see, there's a Triumph Stag in my garage. This belongs to a neighbour and it doesn't run. It did run, but then it stopped running. And when he investigated, he took one of the spark plugs out and you can see that the spark plug had been damaged. Something had hit it and bent it. And he said prior to that, the last time it ran, but it ran and kind of raced away. It ran with high revs. I can't explain any of this, but this is what, I had a conversation with him. And then when he took the spark plug out, one of the spark plugs out, it was damaged. He thought there might be something in the cylinder and went fishing in there with a magnet and then lost the magnet. So there's a magnet down the cylinder as well. So my involvement isn't to repair it or rebuild it or get it running, because I didn't want to commit to that amount of work. But my involvement is to try and take one of the cylinder heads off. Anyway, this is the car. It's a P reg. I don't know what that would make it. Mid-70s, something like that. Probably a 75. It's a two-door sports. I don't know if people are familiar with the Triumph Stag. Some people might be. It's a manual gearbox with overdrive by the look of it. Here's the engine. I'll show you the front end of the car. Oh, hello, Rube. On it, babe. There's the front end. It's got a little bit of damage on it here and there. But basically, if he doesn't do something with it, it's just going to sit and sit and sit and it'll never get done. So we're going to try and make a start by getting it running. Trying to get it running. This part has already been loosened and taken off. And I believe there's a central bolt there that holds the carbs on, because I think that's loose. But all of the peripheral cables and things are still attached. Down here you can see a spark plug, and you can see where there's a plug missing. Well, that's the offending cylinder. These are rather difficult. I'm not going to say this is going to be easy, but I thought I would have a go. There's a row of head bolts along the bottom, and there's some head studs up here, there, and you have to take the studs out to get the head off. This cam cover has been off and then just placed back on again. I will start to dismantle it and I'll bring it back when there's more to show. I've undone everything that I believe is attached to that. I've also drained some water out, some coolant, and took the top hose off. I believe the carb should come out now. There's two choke cables, that's one of them. That's been disconnected. There's an accelerator cable, that's disconnected. I think there's nothing left attaching this now. There's a vacuum pipe which I've took off, and the fuel pipe which is here. Yep, that's clear, okay. So there's the carbs. The inlet manifold's got to come off, so I'll have to undo these other hoses, I suppose. So I'll look at those now. I have to take the coil off as well, I think. You can't quite see it from that angle. Yeah, you can. There's a brown end on it, look. Okay, back in a bit. I've disconnected most of the extraneous things that I can see, including this heater pipe. Just bent it over there, put the coil over there. Interestingly, the bolt that was in there was a Whitworth bolt, so that's not quite right, is it? So I'm going to try and loosen the inlet manifold, the intake manifold. Can't get on that one, can't get on this one. Got that one, can't get on that one. And that's a Whitworth bolt that's been used on the coil bracket. bit worryingly, I can see water down there. Oh, I see lots of water. I've drained out the radiator, but there was still water in that manifold. I can see there's all water down there, but I can see water moving down there. What's going on down there? Is that just water that's run down there as I've took the manifold off? It looks like it's got all water in it. And these ones here don't look much better. That's full of water and it's got all antifreeze traces in it. If there was just water in it now, I'd say, oh, that's just gone in as I've took that manifold off. But it looks like there's been water down there for a long time. I've got an idea this engine's probably hydraulic locked. I don't know. Oh, because it's only drained the radiator, hasn't it? It hasn't drained the block. Okay. Okay. I need to try and get that out, don't I? Okay, leave it with me. I took the power steering pump bracket off. That bolt had that one there had an odd bolt in it, and I've took those two bolts out of there. Yesterday I was chatting to Dean, who owns the car. See, my inexperience with these, I didn't realise that when you drain the radiator, you don't drain the block. So when I pulled the manifold off, there was water in the manifold, and that may have gone down into the cylinder. I got the air line and I blowed into this cylinder here, that one there at the back. There's water coming out of it now, look. We managed to put the car into fourth gear and rock it backwards and forwards, and this mark was aligned there, so that's the rough timing there. The cam's moved since. There's a big flat on there that you can use to move the cam. Apparently there's block drains somewhere on the side of the block, and the downpipe attaches down there on the exhaust. So I'm thinking that what I want to do is to jack the car up and get underneath and undo the exhaust down there, because I've just looked at these. It might be possible to just undo the manifold in the car, I don't know. Probably made a bit more difficult by the fact that the steering is there. I'm thinking that if this head's coming off upwards, these are in the way, aren't they? These are the hose, the heater pipes. So I think I'm going to have to undo those. Yeah, quite complicated really. And the difficult thing apparently is undoing these here, getting the studs out. And it appears to be a coarse thread. I'll jack it up and then see if I can drain the block, and then see if I can take the exhaust off. Okay, back in a bit. Okay, I've got the car jacked up. There's a couple of axle stands under there as well. That one's further back, so I can get in from this side. I found my lamp, so that's good. But I'll just show you what I'm dealing with. Ooh. Okay, so under here, up there somewhere, there's the exhaust. There's three bolts holding the exhaust on, so I need to get onto those, and then up on the side of the block, up there is a block drain. So I need to get a spanner on that, because I don't think I'll get a socket on it, and get that undone and get these 3 bolts off here, these 3 nuts off here. I'll have a go at that then, and I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Right, okay, I'm pleased to report that those 3 bolts are out. They weren't easy. The last one took the stud out with it, at least it didn't break the stud. But they're a funny nut. They were like that 1/2 inch, and like a 13mm didn't really want to go over either. I don't know what they're supposed to be. Anyway, they're out. I need to get up and get that block plug out as well. Okay, back in a bit. I got the thing out. It's 3/4 inch or 19mm, and I had to go in with an open ender and just go half a flat at a time, turn the spanner around all the way out. I took it out and nothing's come out, so I imagine it needs a bit of coat hanger wire poking up it. Okay, so I'll just go and get something to shove up there then and see what happens. Snap on 21st anniversary pearl handled special edition. Let's see if that'll do it. It says in the forums to prepare for wet arms. Oh, got up my arm now. Okay, that's enough of that. Right out, back in a bit. I managed to get onto this one on this side with a, straight on with a long extension. Trying to see if I can show where it is. Oh, there it is. Yeah, there it is. And this one is actually dripping out. Kind of tracks its way down and finds its way down different parts of the casting, running around the edge of the sump there, look. Okay, alright. Actually the whole car looks a little bit better underneath than it does up under the inlet manifold. That area up there is a bit of a disaster, but under here everything don't look too bad. Okay, right, I'll bring you back in a bit when there's more to show. Okay, it's still jacked up. This side is drained, the other side is still draining, so I thought I might as well take the head bolts out. I did a test on this one and it did come loose, so that one's undone. This is my ratchet. The handle's missing, but it means I can just put an extension on there, make it longer. It's alright. I don't know where my extending 1/2 inch ratchet's gone. That makes it a lot easier with that extra length on there. I'll go and put these on my teardown table. I can't remember if I showed it in the opening sequence, but this is the spark plug that caused the concern. You can see the central electrode has been bent, so there's something in there. I mean, it might have gone out the exhaust, who knows. I've got to try and get these studs out. They're not going to unscrew. I know that. They make a tool that it's only a double nut in effect. I'm going to see if I can double nut them, but in the car you don't have a good swing on the nuts. I suppose you can put a socket on the top one, can't you? But I'll do better with it down on the ground, although it is good not to bend me back quite so much. Let's try a bit of double nuttage. Oops. I'll clean them up on the wire wheel so they make a good contact against each other. I don't know if that's come loose or if yeah, okay. It has come loose. Okay, right, that's come loose. That's good, isn't it? The only problem is my thing is stuck on there now. How am I going to do this now? Right. Okay, let me work on it and then I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Well, I hope the others go as well. Hey, number 2. Brilliant. I think they put, you know, copper slip on there, so that's good, isn't it? Here's a handy tip. If ever you got like 2 nuts you need to undo from each other, don't try holding it like that and holding the 2 spanners and trying to move it. Get them so that they're like that, and then you can just squeeze them together. There you go, easy. I think if you were just trying to double nut the spanner, you know, double nut it with 2 spanners, you'd never do it. I don't think you'd ever do it. The fact that I've sort of, I mean, I haven't learnt this from anybody, it's just what I thought was, what's the way of tightening those nuts to the maximum together? And, you know, I appear to have done it. And, you know, credit to whoever put the engine together, that they did put anti-seize stuff on the bolts. Can you see it's got quite a bit of build up there, look. Luckily that hadn't, you know, seized it into the head. Okay, good. Bloody hell. Wow. Okay. Well, that is a major success, isn't it? 5 studs out. That is great. That was going to be the big sticking point. I watched a video on YouTube and the guy, I mean, he was lucky, he got this up on an engine stand, and I think 2 came out, 3 were stuck, and he ended up using a bracket and jacking the head off, just destroying the studs. But these are okay. They're not like stretch bolts or anything, they can just get used again. I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello. Okay. I went underneath with a mallet and I hit the exhaust, and the first thing that happened was the tiny little trickle of coolant from this side turned into a torrent, right? So that caught me by surprise. The head also came loose, so I'm going to see if I can lift it off. Oh yeah, okay. Okay, let's have a inspezione. I can see something straight away. That's the rearmost cylinder. This is the one that had the thing with the spark plug, and you can see that the carbon's been chipped there, but this cylinder's been full of water, and not just from me pulling the manifold off. So let's have a look in the cylinders. That one looks like it's had stuff poked into it from the plug hole. Other than that, just a bit of crap there, that's not too bad. That one has something there. What's that? Oh dear. Anyway, it's something. That's probably what's caused the problem. Oh no, that's a magnet, isn't it? There's something there. Okay, so here are the 2 offending articles. So what is that? Because I think that's what caused the problem. There's the magnet that went in and then got stuck. So it's a good job we didn't try turning it over, because both of those would have caused some damage. But that thing there, whatever that is that went in, is probably what damaged the plug. Okay, this one has got some water in it, possibly, and that one has had water in it much longer term. That's either a faulty head gasket at the back there, or the intake manifold gasket like that one there. We have moved the engine very slightly. This one's been sitting with the spark plug out for a long time. Okay. Okay. Okay, wow. Well, all I can say is, well. I'll get some paper roll and clean that a bit. It might be that when he tried to start it and it didn't turn, it hydraulic locked. Who knows? And you can imagine possibly a scenario where that piece of metal, whatever it is, that went that you know has gone into that cylinder, it must have gone past the carburetor. And if it got stuck in the butterfly, it will have caused it to rev up, because he did say one of the things that happened was it felt like it was trying to rev up. Yeah, one point. Okay, lots of cleaning and scraping required, I would say. Okay, I need to get my neighbour now to have a look and see what he thinks and decide what he wants to do. And I need to decide how much I am prepared to do. I've done what I said I would do, which is to get the cylinder head off. We've removed the offending article. It doesn't appear to have smashed the piston to pieces. We know the engine moves a little bit because we moved it just a tiny bit to align the cam with the mark. So we know it's not seized. Although this one here doesn't look very good, does it? I think it's a case of just going in with a wire brush and cleaning the tops of the pistons. I don't know what the deal is with these if you want to try and turn it over, if you can do that with the cam wheel in that condition. I'm not sure. The cam wheel is retained on this bracket, which is temporary. You have to take that nut off when you want to run the engine. And also with the fact that that was full of water, and judging by the general poor condition of this gasket, I'd suggest that it's probably worth taking the other head off as well. And this here looks like it. I read something where somebody put a new one of those on, so if a new one of those is available, a new one of those would probably be a good idea. Let's leave it at that then. I think that valve's, I'm not sure if it's stuck or if it's just slightly open from the timing. And then we need to make sure that these valves are not bent. And I just don't understand where that bit of bent metal may have come from. This is the inlet manifold upside down. Well, the top part of it. There's the butterflies. I was looking at these bolts, you know, I was thinking one of these bolts maybe had come out. Tell you what though, one of them bolts would have caused a hell of a lot more damage. I can't think what that thing is or where it came from. It's not a, well, I'm not going to say it's not a good design. It's, I don't know. It's certainly not an easy car to work on. This is really bad, isn't it? Look at that. Really, really bad. That one looks fine. Assuming that that's held by the cam, that's all right. Yeah, those two middle ones are held by the cam. Not sure that one's held by the cam though, that one near the back. I'll just move the cam and these appears to have gone, well, not closed but close to closed. They've got all crap holding them open. So this all needs to be stripped down, doesn't it? Stripped down and cleaned. Righto, anyway, that's that, isn't it? So that's off. there's quite a bit of smoking gun evidence. And yeah, that doesn't look too bad now. I've wiped it out, but I'm sure that that wasn't just from me lifting the inlet manifold off. Too much, too long, too much, too rusty for it to have been that. And we've got out the pieces that have caused the problem. Okay, right. Quite a sorry sight, isn't it? It's a shame, really. You know, these were a bit of a luxury sports car in the day. And possibly you can see why, well, two things really. Triumph and Rover became part of the British Leyland group, and Rover had the ex-Buick V8, which was a lot simpler. And this engine has a water pump mounted high up there, which can be problematical. You know, so this car kind of bit the dust because British Leyland didn't want this engine and the Rover V8, and British Leyland never put the Rover V8 into this car, so this car bit the dust. Because of the reliability problems with these engines, and you can see the complexity of it and how kind of prone to failure it can be, people swapped in the Rover V8, and a Stag with a Rover V8 swapped in is kind of a recognised thing because it was such a popular thing to do. Speaking to Dean, the owner of this car, he said, you know, within the Stag circles, it's a recognised thing, it's not frowned upon. Well, it may be by some people, I don't know. But what he said was, what you have to do, you have to fit softer springs, because the Rover V8 is lighter than this engine, because this is a cast iron block. Okay, right. I will do some more when I've had a discussion with the owner. Okay, righto. I hope you found that interesting. I found it interesting. Along the lines of, I'm not sure I want to do another one, but I have found it interesting. Thanks very much for joining me in the garage. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers then. Bye. Hello, welcome to Mart's Garage. It's another day, and I've come out to continue looking at the Stag. I spoke to the owner last night, Dean, and I suggested that it would probably be a good idea, as we've dismantled this much, to take this head off and have a look at this side as well, because I could see water ingress down one of those ports there. Hello, I'm under the front. There's the 3 manifold bolts that need to come undone. They're quite easy to access with the car jacked up. I'm not sure if these are the same size, because certainly that one stud there looks like it's been modified or replaced or something. That one looks small, that one looks big, so I don't know if this Whitworth size will fit, but let's just give it a go. Well, that was more of a pain than I expected. It took me ages to get them out, at least an hour. Okay, righto. While the head's bolted on, then I'll loosen that exhaust manifold. Oh, there we go. Came off okay. Get the gasket off. At least let it come down and, well, see what happens. There you go. There's the gasket. It's alright, isn't it? Stainless steel by the look of it. Sandwich. So basically that's not going to stop the head from coming off, is it? So that's the important thing. Okay, right, good. Progress made at last. Okay, righto. I'll start undoing the head bolts. Let's cross our fingers that we have a good result like we did yesterday with the other head. Okay. I'll get set up for that then, and I'll bring you back in a little bit. I've tidied up some tools, not all of them. And I have found this, which is what I wanted to use yesterday. I've found that, so that's good. I'll start by taking this off. I'm just trying to work out if I'd do better to have it down on the ground. I think, to be honest, oops, this height is okay because I'm not bending over. I'm trying to work on it. Don't look great, does it? Okay, Dean's here, the owner of the car, and unfortunately trying to get that head off didn't go very well. 3 of the head studs came out, but 2 didn't. 1 I've had to give up on because it just doesn't want to move, and the other one actually snapped. So we're going to have to resort to some drastic measures. But first of all, I need to move the cam to a position where I can get to the bolts to undo the bolts. So we're going to try and push the car to rotate the engine so I can undo the bolts on the cam. So I thought I'd put the camera there because when we push the car you should see these pistons move up and down. We still aren't confident that the engine turns. Okay, so we'll go and push the car and we'll see what happens. If we can. It still don't really matter. I think it's a case of kind of bouncing it and go. Let's see where that is now. Oh, that's all right. I can get at those now. I can get at both of these now. I'll tell you what. Let's just undo them, and we'll worry about timing it when it goes back together.
Yeah, well, that's quite surprised with that being that far out.
you know, the optimism there.
Well, oh,
When it goes back together.
if it goes back.
If it goes back together, yeah. Oh, very important. There's 2 bolts there. Look, they haven't taken out yet. So I mustn't try and remove the engine, the head yet, till they come out. Little ones down the front. That's a reminder to myself. I won't bother filming anymore, but in theory, yes, the pistons have moved, haven't they? They've got to have moved. So at least the engine isn't seized. So that one's gone down. I don't know what that one's done, whether it's come up or down. It's gone down a long way actually, it looks like it was there. That one's gone down a bit, that one's gone down a lot. This one's come up, I guess. I don't know what that one's done, up or down, one or the other. But that's, yeah, it's looking a lot better actually, knowing that it turns, and there's hardly any wear on it. It's not done a lot of miles since it was rebuilt, so yeah, looking good. And I can get at both of those bolts now, so I'm going to take those off. I've got to undo those 2 bolts there that I've just remembered, and then I can have a look at what we need to do to get that head off, which will require some fairly drastic measures. Okay, righto, I'll bring you back when there's more to show. Hello. Well, this has been rather a frustrating session today. We've had a fail basically. That head on that side came off okay. There's 5 studs that need to be taken out, and they all came out. This side didn't go okay. I've got 2 head bolts still in there, just loose. That one came out, that one came out, and that one came out. That one snapped after trying to double nut it, and that one I couldn't double nut it tight enough to get it to turn, and then I welded a nut on and tried it again and it broke. So that one and that one both snapped off. So that's a bit of a disaster. I've got the cam gear off. I've took the bolts out the front of the head. There might be, I think there's some sort of a heater hose connection there that might need to come off. But the problem is these broken studs, because they haven't broke because they're stuck in the block, they've broke because they're seized into the head, which is a pain, isn't it? I watched a video where a guy had a bracket that bolts on here, and then he put a jack between the bracket and that side of the block there. He used like a wedge piece in there, and then he applied pressure to the head, and the head started to lift off. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to try and do something similar. It seemed to work for him. I can get a good purchase in there and a good purchase there. So some sort of bracket on here, bish bosh, job done, hopefully. But that'll be a job for another day. I think Dean agrees, the owner agrees, that it was worth having a look, because that one was, you know, quite bad. And you just don't know what this side is like. And the fact that the studs are corroded into the head probably adds weight to the fact that this side is worth looking at. Knowing how, you know, Murphy's Law and everything, we'll get this side off and it'll be perfectly okay. But you don't know till you take it off, do you? That gasket on that side didn't look very good, so one would assume that the gasket on this side is much the same. Okay, enough waffle. I'll end it there, and we'll call this video good for now, and then I'll bring you back next time when we'll have a go at using jacks to lift this head. Okay, thanks very much for joining me in the garage. Take care, and I'll catch you on the next one. See you in a bit. Bye.